I'm on my way back to Buford Spring. We just had a hurricane in the area, so a lot of the area has been flooded and everything, especially coming from up north. It looks like it's not too bad down this way. You can see out here. But we got a class coming up this week, and afterwards we were looking for some fun spots to dive, and I just want to see if the water has cleared up enough or not got all mucky from the hurricane. So we'll kind of see what it looks like. This is, if I remember right, it's about 3/4 of a mile hike back. We recently had a storm, so there's some obstacles along the way. So I'm not going to film the entire walk like I was hoping to. You can already see a little bit of sweat here. It's about 98 degrees today. Very humid. Us guys from Ohio, that'll get to us. But I'm going to put my phone down and bring you guys some cool footage from down inside. Peace. Well, folks, we made it. It's awfully pretty back here. Earlier, there were some swimmers when I was coming down checking it out. They were real cool. I showed them a little bit of footage I got. But everyone's cleared out now. We got it to ourselves. First thing I did was jump in the water to cool off when I got back here. So this isn't sweat. This is spring water. One of the questions I commonly get asked is, could there be gators? So to tell if there are or have been gators in the water, here in the state of Florida anyways, there's one surefire way to tell. So what you got to do is be careful getting down to the water. Make sure that there's no obvious visible ones right here. But reach down and just go like this in the water, okay? If that feels wet, then there either are or have been gators in the water. That does work anywhere in Florida. So here I just went ahead and decided to do voiceover because my microphone had a lot of background noise in it going up above and below water. But what I wanted to show you was that tannic water. It looks like tea. That's all the leaves and stuff leaching into the swamp there and getting all over it. After that storm and the swamp levels rose, that all leached over into the spring, kind of forced that spring water down a little bit. But you can see where my light beam turns a little bluer as we get a little bit deeper. I do have a little segment that I had to cut out on the safety factors here. I do have my cave certifications. I can train people in overhead environments as well. I'm going to be taking a reel with me. I think you'll be able to see it here in just a minute. But I tie off a piece of line all the way up at the surface, and then I bring it with me down into the cave, so if I ever was to get lost or anything, there's no chance of me not being able to get back to air. I can just follow my line right back up. Peekaboo. So I sped up the going down a little bit, so now we're slowed back down for the cooler part. We've got limestone blocks all over. This is a massive cavern / cave. It's absolutely beautiful down here. There's not a whole lot of wildlife. You'll see a little bit. There's some bluegill and catfish. Sometimes you'll see these little ghost crayfish. But for the most part, we're looking for rock formations and just getting to experience being somewhere that very few other people have ever been. This particular site's getting a little more popular, but caves in general are just splendid to kind of be there in a new space. So another quick show of that computer showed that we were now at a depth of 132 feet, so the recreational limit. On this particular dive, I didn't want to go too much deeper. I was just diving on air. Later in the week when we went back to it with students, we went all the way down to the bottom. We were on trimix at that point, so it was a lot easier to do. There's that line going to the surface, and if you look up top where the sunlight's coming through that tannic water, it's got all that nice color to it. But down where the video is being taken, all those tannins are cleared out by the spring water. It's kind of a cool little perspective. It looks like it's almost on fire up above us. So here, going back up the line, sorry for the choppy video. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to get better and make a lot more of these kinds of videos. But particularly right now, I've got my hands reeling that line in so I don't have to leave it down in the cave, and that makes for horrible videographer skills. But look at those pretty colors as they come up. Here we're kind of coming up out of the hole and onto the ledge. I think I actually clipped off my camera at that point. And there's where I had it tied on. Well, I got some footage to share of that. That was a spectacular dive. However, when I did the little dive to begin with to see how it was, that tannic layer was down at about 7 feet. and now it's already down to about 20 feet. So I think it's actually getting lower, and over the next few days it's gonna get harder to see. So we snuck in just in time. Like I said, beautiful day, beautiful dive.